Hello friends, God's love and ending bring today message from the Father. You don't have to know everything. His guidance is always enough, step by step.
My beloved child, let me continue to speak, not with the cold voice of authority, but with the burning heart of one who has watched over every step of yours since you were formed in your mother's womb. My beloved, open your heart. Set aside, if only for a moment, the turbulence of daily life, and listen to this as though it were your final breath, for truly, this is an urgent call from eternity. Not a vague piece of advice to be brushed aside like something trivial. You are no longer in a place of safety, not physically, but deep in your soul, where the light is slowly being consumed by hidden fractures. That angel, the messenger of God, did not come wielding sword or spear, but bearing a lamp ablaze in the night. For heaven sees what you cannot. He did not arrive by chance, nor because you measured up to the world's standards. No, he was sent because heaven can no longer bear the sight of you fading into the dark. Imagine this: if a child were to fall into a pit unaware, would not the mother leap down without hesitation to save them, no matter the danger? Then why do you think heaven, the birthplace of the purest love, would sit idly by while the light in your soul flickers and dies? You no longer feel his presence, not because he has left, but because your heart has grown crowded with temporary things. You are lost in a maze of conflicting voices. The world tells you to succeed, to be strong, to never show weakness. And day by day, you silence your pain, wrap it in forced smiles and eyes too dry to weep. But heaven is not deceived. The gaze of heaven sees through every layer you've built, and what it sees is a soul on the brink, one that must be lifted before it's too late. Remember the story of Elijah in the scriptures? When he fled from Queen Jezebel, exhausted and begging God to let him die. It seemed as if he had given up completely. But what happened? An angel came, touched him, and said, "Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you." No rebuke, no judgment, only compassion and strength. And today, there is an angel whispering those same words into your heart. Get up, my beloved, for this is not your end. Your journey is not yet over. That you may think you've strayed too far, hurt too many, lost yourself beyond return. But heaven never builds doors that are meant to stay shut forever. Every door, even the old and rusted, can be opened if you're willing to step forward. And the angel is here, in this very room, to help you do just that. Not with thunderous miracles, but with a quiet strength, a gentle light shining into the corners you've long tried to hide. He sees the nights when you can't sleep, when your heart overflows with anxiety that no one notices. He knows the times you pretend to be okay while waves crash inside you. This angel hasn't come to judge your stumbles, your poor choices, or your moments of unbelief. No, he comes because heaven still sees a flame in you, small, perhaps, but never extinguished. And heaven will not allow that flame to die and surrender. Let me ask you this, dear child. When was the last time you truly sat with yourself? Not to criticize, not to make another to-do list, but simply to ask, with honesty, am I really okay? Heaven is asking you that now. Don't answer too quickly. Let your heart respond, not the reason worn down by pressure and impossible expectations. If you feel like the prodigal son in Jesus' parable, the one who left home, squandered his life, and ended in misery, then remember, the father in that story never locked the door. On the contrary, he waited each day, eyes fixed on the old road, hoping for a glimpse of the familiar silhouette returning. And when the son came back, covered in filth and shame, the father needed no explanation. He simply embraced him and said, "My son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." Afraid, and so it is with you. No matter how far you've gone, how deeply you've been wounded, how much faith you've lost, the door home remains open. Not just a physical place, but a return to your truest self, where life, peace, and boundless mercy reside. The angel is reaching out, but that hand will not pull you unless you step toward it. That is the wonder of true love. It never coerces, never imposes, but waits with a patience beyond all understanding. I know you're afraid. I know you're weary from trusting too much and being hurt too deeply. But my beloved, faith is not the absence of doubt. It is the courage to keep walking even when your legs tremble. Healing does not arrive with fanfare. It comes slowly, moment by moment. Each time you choose to believe you are worthy of love and that your past does not dictate your future. That angel, he is not merely a symbol, but a living embodiment of mercy. He stands there, amid your doubts and wounds, ready to remind you who you are, a soul created not merely to exist, but to truly live, to live deeply, fully, as if each day were a sacred hymn composed just for you. So, what will you do with this invitation? Will you turn away as if you never heard it? Or will you pause, just for a breath, to listen, to give your heart a chance to be changed? The answer doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't even need to come right away. It only needs to be true. Because the moment you crack open your heart, even slightly, the light will rush in, and you will no longer be alone, because the angel is still there. And heaven, dear one, has never left your side for even a single moment. My beloved child, I see you, not just the figure moving through the visible world, but the soul growing silent beneath the noise. You live as in a dream yet to end, swept along by screens that shine too brightly, by the relentless clamor of technology, by schedules that feel important but leave your heart hollow, while your eyes remain fixed on what is small and fleeting. In the unseen realm, the one you don't perceive, a fierce battle is unfolding, not with blades, but with every thought, every feeling being planted in your mind. My angel, sent to be near you, sees the traps laid out with precision, the addiction you mistake for harmless fun, the bitterness you carry as if it gives you meaning, the despair you begin to accept as a permanent part of you. These, my child, are the real dangers. They do not crash in like monsters from old tales. They slip in quietly, disguised as habits, as what the world calls reality. But the greatest danger is when you begin to believe they are normal. When you stop resisting, stop seeking, stop hoping. That is when the life in you begins to fade. The presence of the angel is a disruption of light against darkness, of truth against the lies you've come to accept. He does not come to shame you, nor to judge you like a cold magistrate. He comes to awaken you, to remind you that you were not created to live tired, numb, or lost. You were made for freedom, for truth, and for a love greater than anything you've ever known. But that love is now at risk, not because of this world, but because you are forgetting who you are. You forget that your soul once burned bright, once longed deeply, once dared to dream of something more. I do not ask you to be perfect. I only long for you to awaken. I yearn for you to return, not with shame, but with courage, to face the truth. You are lost, and heaven is waiting with open arms. Remember a passage from Scripture about King Solomon, the one granted unmatched wisdom. He once loved the Lord, built a sacred temple, and humbly asked for a listening heart to lead his people. But over time, that heart was pulled away by foreign idols, by political marriages, by strange rituals. He didn't abandon God in a single day. It happened little by little, choice by choice, as wisdom gave way to ambition, calculation, and human weariness. In the end, his heart grew numb to God's warnings. Solomon's story is not one of punishment, but of warning for every soul. No one is immune to temptation, and no one can stay far from God without consequences. But if Solomon, once touched by grace, could lose his way, then I understand why you, too, might stumble into blindness. And if he, even after falling, was remembered in the history of grace, then you, too, are not forgotten. The angel stands there, not to reopen your wounds, but to remind you that even in your lostness, you are still loved. He will not promise to take away your pain in an instant, but he will never abandon you in the darkness of your mind. He is whispering to your soul the words you have forgotten. You are not your failures. You are not your wounds. You are not the uselessness the world has labeled you with. You are chosen, called, loved, and held by the hand of the living God. He is extending his hand, not to force you, but to lift you up when you are too tired to walk. And the only thing you need to do is not to prove anything, only to whisper something simple. Lord, save me. I've heard you. I want to come home. And in that moment, the light will come, not as a blinding flash, but as a quiet flame, just enough to warm your soul again. The angel will not leave, nor will I. We are still here, in every moment you awaken, in every fragile heartbeat, daring to believe again, because real love never imposes. It waits, it calls, and today, my child, it is calling your name with all the tenderness, the longing, and the eternity of heaven. My beloved child, let me tell you why this is of such great importance. There is nothing within you that is accidental, not a single personality trait, silent longing, or humble dream of yours is the product of chance. Your life, with all its twists, wounds, and hidden turns us a unique thread woven into a vast tapestry, a tapestry that only the Creator sees in its entirety. And when you grow weary and let go, when you think you have nothing left to offer, the entire picture quivers with unease. Every soul plays a role, and you, whether you believe it or not, carry an irreplaceable part in that grand design. The angel sent to walk beside you is not rushing because of anger, not hurrying because of disappointment, but moved by the urgency of a love so deep it cannot bear to watch you abandon yourself. The angel comes to guard the purpose within you, the one planted before you were even formed, the one you yourself may not yet fully understand. Every dream you have buried beneath the dust of harsh reality is still remembered by the angel. Not a single spark of your being is forgotten in heaven. You may reject it. You may temporarily forget, but the Creator does not. Think of Jeremiah, the young man called by God in the midst of a rebellious people. When summoned to be a prophet, he trembled and said, Sovereign Lord, I do not know how to speak. I am only a child. But God replied, do not say, I am only a child. You must go to everyone I send you to, and say whatever I command you. Jeremiah 1,6,7. Do you see? It was not Jeremiah's readiness, but God's calling that made him a voice in the night. In the same way, you do not need to be the strongest. You do not need all the answers. You only need a willing heart, and I will take care of the rest. I know there was a time you believed in great things. Perhaps it was the dream to write, to help, to create, to love, to heal, but time and pain made you hide them away like a precious jar tucked in the back of a cabinet, too fragile to risk breaking. I want you to know this. The angel has been safeguarding those dreams, holding every glimmer within your heart, waiting for the day you dare to believe again. And it's not just the dreams. The gifts you have, those you dismiss, those you call ordinary, pointless, are in truth the very keys that open doors for others. You may not know it, but a single act from you, a word, a glance, a helping hand could shift the course of another soul. The angel knows. The angel sees the influence you do not, even the love you've been withholding out of fear, out of rejection, out of no longer believing yourself worthy. That love is desperately needed by someone out there. The angel sees its urgency, because love is not a gift reserved for the strong, but a lantern for those willing to light it in the storm. And every time you choose silence over stepping forward, safety over risk, that light retreats just a little. And it's not only you who loses. This world loses a part of its radiance too. Child, when you deny your own potential, you are yielding ground to silent forces that seek to weaken humanity. Each light that dims does not fade because of mighty winds, but because the flame was no longer tended. You have cried out for balance, whispered in quiet moments, Lord, I want peace. So now, listen carefully. Peace does not come from avoiding the battle, but from knowing which side you stand on. The warning I bring today is not to scare you, but to awaken you. And at the same time, it is a tight embrace from heaven to let you know you have never been alone in this fight. And if you still doubt, if your heart can't quite believe that this love is for you, look to Peter, the one who swore never to deny his teacher, yet denied him 3 times before the rooster crowed. What then? Did Christ turn away from him? No. After the resurrection, Jesus came to Peter by the Shana to rebuke, but to ask, do you love me? And each time Peter answered, the Lord said, feed my sheep. John 20, 15, 17. You see, heaven is not built on perfection, but on love. Love that restores, love that rebuilds, love that recommissions 7 after the deepest failure. You are not defined by your weaknesses. You are not confined by your mistakes. The only truth that defines you in heaven's eyes is this: you are still being called by name. And today, I am calling you, not to prove anything, only so you may know that you are still chosen, still loved. And there is still time. My angel standing right beside you is proof of that. So come out of numbness. Pause it. Breathe deeply. Remember that each time you choose to believe, even in the faintest flicker of hope, darkness loses ground. And light, which never gives up, will begin to spread through you again. Today, right now, because heaven is still waiting, and you have never been forgotten. The angel does not appear in blazing glory or dramatic miracles. like the stories you've read or imagined. The angel does not come with flaming swords or thunderous decrees. No, the angel needs none of that, because true power does not lie in loudness, but in quiet persistence and unwavering devotion. The angel comes to you through simple, humble things, but carries a strength that transcends time and space. It may be a soft reminder in chaos, nudging you to pray instead of running. Not a grand, eloquent prayer, just a quiet breath, a bowed heart, a whisper, "Please stay with me." And in that moment, the angel hears you. Sometimes, the angel stirs a memory you thought long gone, promise you once made to yourself when you were innocent, pure, and believed the world could be healed by love and sincerity. That is no coincidence. It is a touch from the divine, a glimmer to remind you that even if you've grown weary and doubtful, that younger you still lives. The angel may even appear through a strange yet kind glance, a timely word, an unexpected act of kindness that feels meant just for you. And in those moments, your heart softens. The faith you thought lost quietly begins to sprout in the smallest crack of hope. These whispers, these signals from heaven are not distant or mysterious. They are real. They are near. But they need your participation. The angel cannot live for you, cannot choose for you, cannot force you to rise. For even the Creator will not touch what you refuse to open your free will. And it is this, more than anything, that makes love sacred. Nothing is more holy than love freely given. Nothing is more powerful than a fragile soul that still chooses the light. Understand this deeply. Not even heaven can force you to choose life. You must want it. You must step toward it. And even if your step is tiny, the angel will run to grab your hand. But that first step, it must come from you. Not from pressure, not from fear, but from beginning to believe that you are worthy of a deeper, fuller, true life. You are not a spectator in your own story. You are the protagonist. And the angel does not come to replace you, but to remind you that there is still time to write a new chapter on where light becomes a daily part of your life. And I, the one who placed a piece of myself in your soul, I am watching each decision. Each moment you wrestle with your own heart. I am not rushing. I am patient, but I am not silent. I am whispering through events, through people, through moments you might call small. And the angel, keeper of your light, will not leave. They will wait until you are brave enough to say, "I say yes. I want to live." And then, heaven will open. No thunder needed. Only your heart opening, and that, my child, is the greatest miracle of all. Pay close attention. Beloved, very close, because heaven does not only speak through thunder and wonders. Often, the divine intervention comes through signs, so small they seem unimportant. But they carry the quiet strength of a hand, shaking you awake from spiritual slumber. The angel does not always appear in radiant brilliance or majestic dreams. Sometimes they come in subtler forms, an uninvited thought, a vague restlessness, a gentle call from within that is the whisper of awakening. Have you ever found yourself suddenly thinking of someone you haven't seen in years, someone with whom there was once pain, misunderstanding, or distance, and you suddenly think, "I should reconcile"? That is not a fleeting memory. That is the angel. The angel is leading you back to what is incomplete, not to accuse you, but to heal. The fractures between people are part of humanity's greater fracture, and when one reconciliation happens, a piece of the world is mended too. Don't ignore that nudge. Know that it is not mere emotion, it is an invitation from the angel, calling you into the role of peacemaker. Have you ever begun to feel uneasy with yourself with a habit you once excused? Once thought, everyone does? Maybe it was a careless word, a negative reaction, a repeated escape, and one day, it no longer sits right in your soul. That is a sign. That is the angel. The angel is pointing out the boundary between your old self and the new one you are being invited to become. Not to shame you, but to show you it is time to grow, to step beyond the comfort of the familiar. Or perhaps there are moments when you feel suffocated in places that once felt safe, a relationship once dear, a stable job, a societal role that once gave you peace. Suddenly, you feel you no longer belong, not because you are ungrateful or selfish, but because the angel is stirring the still waters that have become stagnant. Comfort does not always mean peace. Sometimes, it is the shell of stagnation, the cocoon outgrown, and the angel, the one sent to you, is calling your soul, whispering, it's time to move forward. Oh, do not dismiss these signs. Do not think they are random. They are heaven's gentle, powerful intervention. You are not a drifting speck. You are guided, upheld, and gently awakened bit by bit, moment by moment. The angel does not come to change your whole life in a day, but to patiently brush away the layers of dust covering your soul until you can once again see the light within yourself. And the most wonderful thing is this: you don't need to understand everything in order to respond to the invitation. You only need to be honest with the movement stirring within your heart. If you feel restless for no apparent reason, if something old no longer brings you peace, if you've begun to question the things you once accepted, know that this is not a sign of instability, but a signal of rebirth. And the angel, the one walking beside you, is your most faithful guide on that journey. The angel does not come to lull you into staying within your comfort zone, nor to make you feel cozy in circumstances that are stifling your soul. The angel comes because heaven did not create you merely to exist. You were not born to be a shadow of yourself, to avoid pain, or to go numb amidst weary sighs of resignation. No, the angel comes for something far greater: to stir you, to awaken you, and to make you truly live. And true life, my dear, doesn't always arrive wrapped in softness. It begins in trembling, in uncertainty, like that first step into cold morning water. Your heart tightens, your breath shortens, and instinct tells you to step back. But if you dare to surrender, I promise that water will not drown you. It will lift you. I know the burdens you are carrying, every unseen pressure that no one else perceives, every question you're too afraid to voice. I see the wounds you hide behind a smile, the exhaustion you've come to call normal. You think heaven is silent because your circumstances haven't changed. You whisper in frustration, Lord, I prayed, but nothing changed. But have you ever wondered, what if the change is not outside, but quietly unfolding within you? What if the real miracle is that you are changing bit by bit? Isn't that the greater work? The angel is not a magician sent to instantly change your surroundings. The angel does not wave away sorrow with a flick of the hand. No, the angel comes like a sacred midwife, delivering something more divine than temporary transformation, your very metamorphosis. The angel knows that just before dawn, the darkness feels most frightening, and the angel has been there. In every night you've wept in silence. Not a single tear of yours has gone unnoticed. Every drop is gathered, every shaky breath, Every clenched fist in the dark transformed into fuel for a breakthrough. Not a breakthrough from the world, but from the worn-out self. Weary, in pain and doubt. Those mornings when you rise with swollen eyes, yet still brush your teeth, get dressed, and step out of bed. The angel sees it all. That effort which seems small and ordinary in the eyes of the world is magnified into sacred momentum in the unseen realm. Because in heaven, courage is not measured by outcome, but by perseverance in despair. A person who keeps loving, even after being hurt. A person who keeps believing, even when nothing suggests things will improve. A person who keeps praying, even when God seems silent. These are the souls surrounded by angels like an army of honor. And you, even if you can't see a tar among them, so do not despise yourself. Don't think that your just surviving days are failures. To heaven, those days may be the pinnacle of your inner triumph. And the angel, sent to walk with you through the darkness, is recording every moment of your perseverance as part of the eternal story where your name is etched in light. You are not alone. You never were, even in silence, even in stillness. I am moving, and my angel remains beside you, not to take the burden away, but to remind you that you are stronger than you think, because the one who lives in you is mighty. And if today your heart is still aching, if you are still breathing, then I ask you, please, don't collapse as if you've lost. Let your weakness become the place where my power is revealed. Let the angel lift you not with wings but with the truth, that you were not born just to get by, but to live fully, deeply, as if every moment is sacred. And you are living. Don't forget that growth, my dear, is not always visible to the human eye. Like roots growing silently in the soil unnoticed. Uncelebrated, yet they are what hold the tree when the storm arrives. Likewise, there are seasons in your life when, on the surface, nothing seems to change. Days feel dry, tiring, colorless. But you don't realize, even in those seemingly meaningless moments, the angel is patiently at work. Every small stirring in your soulvery, longing, every quiet question, every time you refuse to give Upus a sign that the roots are growing, quietly, steadily, deeply. And then you ask, why the angel? Why me? That question isn't naive. My dear, it's the question of a soul searching for the deeper meaning of existence. And the answer is not found in your worthiness, but in your belonging. You belong to Minot because you are perfect. But because I chose you before you ever had form. I didn't make a mistake in creating you. You are not a backup plan in this world. The blood flowing in your veins, the beat of your heart, every hidden thought you carry are all held in the hands of the one who formed the universe. The angel appeared not because you are good enough or more special than others, but because I love you with an unconditional love, and that love cannot sit still when it sees you trading yourself for the temporary, weary from believing lies, and forgetting how radiant you once were. The angel comes to remind you, even if you fall into the darkest parts of your soul, your cry still reaches heaven. For I hear not only the prayers on your lips, but also the sighs at midnight, the unspoken dreams, and the sorrows you cannot name. I hear it all. You may not know it. But even when you reject me, your heart still whispers my name. There are longings within you that you think are vague, but they are echoes of your divine origin. You want a meaningful life? You want to love without being broken. You want someone to truly see you. All of this comes from the one who breathed life into you. It is the call to come home. And you ask, why me? Because the world needs a song that only you can sing. No one else has your voice. No one else has your eyes, which have seen what you've seen. No one else carries your heart, bruised as it may be, and still stands. In your highs and lows, there is music. In your scars, there is testimony. In your story, there is the power to heal. No one else can write that song because no one else is you. Don't think you're not good enough to contribute to something great. Remember, Moses chosen to lead the Israelites out of slavery, yet he had killed a man, had run away, and said, I'm slow of speech and tongue. I can't do what you're asking. But the Lord replied, I will be with your mouth and teach you what to say. Exodus 4:12. Likewise, you are not walking alone. You only need to step forward. The angel will uphold you. I will guide you. And that song, the one only you can sing, will rise. Not under stage lights, but in the everyday, in every act of kindness, every righteous choice, every word of forgiveness you dare to speak. These are sacred notes. My dear, that song doesn't need to be flawless, it only needs to be honest. And when you dare to sing it, even with a trembling voice, all of heaven listens. Heaven does not seek perfect harmony, but faithful souls. And you doubting, afraid, hesitant, you are still chosen, still loved, and still being led. So when you feel unready, when you still don't understand, remember, every mighty root begins in darkness. Just don't give up. The angel will not leave, and your song, whether whispered, whether wept, will echo into eternity. The angel is not only a silent guardian, but a patient, devoted coach. The angel does not simply appear to shield you from unseen blows in the dark, but walks with you in the journey to become stronger in ways you never imagined you could be. With every step you hesitate to take, every challenge you wish to avoid, the angel whispers encouragement. Keep going. You are not alone. The angel does not push you forward, nor do the work for you, but stands beside you, empowering you quietly, urging you toward a realm of courage you thought was beyond reach. That presence, quiet, steadfast, yet full of power, is living proof of your worth, because no one is assigned divine protection unless there is something precious to guard. No warrior is rigorously trained unless they hold a vital role in a true battle. And you, whether confused or exhausted, whether doubting yourself, are still a crucial part of heaven's plan. You are worth protecting. You are worth preparing. You are worth equipping, because the battle you're fighting is real. Yes, the battle is real, not with physical weapons, but with subtle attacks on your mind, your emotions, your very identity. Anxiety creeps in like a thief at night, stealing peace and leaving disarray. But right then, the angel brings a shield piece, not as a fleeting feeling, but as a weapon. The angel places the shield in your hand, but you must raise it yourself. Peace doesn't come from avoiding fear, but from facing it with the trust that you are not alone. And when lies surround you saying you're not enough, not strong, not worthy, angel doesn't argue for you. Instead, the angel gives you a sword truth. The truth about you is not found in those negative voices, but in the gaze of the one who made you with purpose and love. But you must speak. Your mouth must say, I am a child of the Most High. I have worth. I am loved. I am not abandoned. These are not mere words, they are weapons that shatter darkness. The connection between you and the angel is not a one-way relationship. It is a sacred companionship knot, the kind meant merely to soothe or comfort, but one that ignites and builds. The angel does not come to fix your life, as if you were a broken machine needing replacement parts. No, you are not a damaged product. You are a warrior in training, and the angel does not come to clear the battlefield, but to equip you with the strength to fight. He will teach you to discern truth from deception. He will show you which boundaries are meant to be honored and which ones are meant to be crossed. He will walk beside you when you fall, but not to let you stay there. He will lift you up, dust you off, place the sword back in your hand, and remind you, you were born for this. My child, I know there are moments when you wish you could simply sit still and let all the hardships disappear. But just as a soldier cannot learn to fight within the safety of a closed room, your soul cannot grow strong in a place of comfort. That is why the angel was sent not to remove every challenge, but to lead you through them until you realize what you fear most is not stronger than the one who lives within you. And remember, your arsenal is real. You have peace as your shield. You have truth as your sword. You have faith as shoes that never wear out. You have prayer as a flame that never dies. And you have an angel who will not leave, will not retreat, and will not slumber. So risen not because you are perfectly ready, but because in your imperfection, you have been chosen to be strong. And the angel is already there waiting for you to step forward, to begin a battle whose victory is already written, as long as you do not give up. Beloved, hear this with all your heart, for this is not merely a word of comfort, but a revelation meant for you. Every victory, no matter how small, shakes the foundations of darkness in realms unseen by your eyes. It could be your choice to remain silent instead of speaking harshly, to be honest with yourself instead of presenting a polished illusion, to pause in gratitude rather than complain. These actions may seem simple, but in the spiritual realm, they send out shockwaves strong enough to break the schemes of hell. The invisible world does not wait for grand gestures. It responds to a faithful heart in the small things, because it is in those hidden choices in the shadows where no one sees, where no praise is given, that the true nature of a soul is revealed. And your soul, though cracked, still shines. Though weary, still chooses good. Though tempted, still listens for the whisper of truth. And each time you do, you drive out a little more darkness, not only from within yourself, but from this world. I see your weariness, not just a physical fatigue, but a deep soul tiredness, the kind that comes from holding on to hope, from trying so hard to heal, from exhausting your reason and trying to understand why things turned out this way. You have fought silently. You have endured without being seen. But some wounds you cannot mend by human strength. Some chains you cannot break by sheer will, no matter how strong you are. And that is precisely why the angel was sent. The angel does not come with a human-style plan, nor with answers that fit into formulas or logic. He carries divine strategy as tactics that seem small or unexpected, but are powerful enough to shatter chains. Sometimes it is just a gentle nudge in your heart, the courage to apologize first, even when you don't feel entirely wrong, an act that looks like weakness, yet breaks the bondage of pride and frees the soul from an invisible prison. Or it is a quiet whisper telling you to walk away from toxic conversations, where gossip is slowly drying out your spirit. That is not merely a polite act. but a bold declaration of allegiance to the lighter refusal, sent directly to the forces trying to tint your mind with darkness. Sometimes, the angel leads you back to something seemingly small, a passion that once lit up your heart, a joy you've abandoned amid the chaos of life. You may think it trivial, too personal, but the angel knows that in those very things, you once touched heaven. When you draw, write, sing, garden, or help others with your true gifts, you are not just doing work, you are aligning with the divine design for your life. And that is how the angel is rewriting your destiny, not with thunder, but with gentle remembrance. Do not underestimate the small steps. Do not believe that if you haven't done great things, you haven't changed anything. Every great work of heaven begins with a quiet seed. Obedience in the little things, especially when no one sees. No one applauds. No one understands us what makes darkness tremble. Because darkness does not fear the one who wields weapons. It fears the one who is faithful, humble, and unwavering. And I say this not to burden you further, but to free you from the illusion that you must do it all alone. No, child, you only need to obey in the small things and the rest victory. Healing, guidance will be the angel's work. And mine. Remember, you do not fight alone. You do not need to wait until you are strong enough, good enough, wise enough to begin again. If you are willing to say yes to the small thing today, you have already stepped into a plan of redemption that even hell cannot stop. And the light from within you will stretch farther than you ever imagined. One small action, one right choice, one whispered responses, enough to change destiny, not only yours, but that of every soul connected to your life in this world. Follow him. Beloved, this is a sacred turning point meant just for you, not by chance, but by design. Everything happening now is not random. This moment as you read these words, as your heart stirs, as something deep within you awakens, this is the pivot point. The angel is with you now, not merely watching, but reaching out a hand to guide you through the most crucial bend in your journey. Do not fear the turn. Do not fear the change. For when you follow him, you do not step into confusion, but into the light of something new, something that has long awaited you. The angel speaks with urgency, not because I am angry, but because time on earth is limited. None of you know how many days remain, and none of you know how many other souls are waiting for the light from your life to help them find their way home. Your purpose is irreplaceable. No one can live for you, choose for you, love for you, forgive for you. No one can testify on your behalf to the miracle I placed in your heart. You think you are small, but in this world, the obedience of a soul like yours shakes what cannot be seen. So the angel does not come in panic, but with the priority of heaven, this must be placed first. Not because I need you, but because you need your truest self. Today, you are invited to choose. You don't need to choose everything. You don't need to be perfect. Just one thing. One small but faithful act. One sincere yes. It may be forgiving someone note because they deserve it, but because you deserve to be free. It may be reaching for help not because you are weak, but because you are brave enough to say, I can't do this alone. It may be releasing something poisoning your Sula habit, a relationship, a toxic thought, or it may be something simple yet powerful, praising me in the midst of your despair. That is true faith when you see no way out, and still declare, God, I believe you are here. And beloved, you cannot imagine what will come from that yes. The angel will multiply it. Your small act will be doubled, multiplied 100-fold, not by earthly arithmetic, but by the quiet, vast reach of the kingdom of heaven. A drop of surrender in your heart today will become a mighty waterfall tomorrow. Strength will grow. Grace will grow. Faith will grow. And then, suddenly when you least expect it, there will be a moment of breakthrough. Chains will fall. Doors will open. Dreams, thought dead, will come alive. And you will truly see that every obedient step brought you here. So don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait for a grand sign. Choose today. In the middle of your imperfection, your weariness, and your doubt, choose one thing. The angel is waiting for your first step, and heaven will handle the rest. Are you afraid of getting it wrong? Afraid you misheard the call? Afraid your soul is wandering in illusion? That the stirring inside you is just a fantasy? Or perhaps you fear you're not holy enough? Not worthy of an angel's nearness? I understand. I truly do. Because you are walking with human feet in a noisy, chaotic world, where truth and illusion mix like light and shadow at dusk. But listen to me. Your fear does not push me away, nor does it cause the angel to withdraw. My angel sent to be beside you knows your flaws well. Ese is your hesitations, your uncertainty, the wounds still healing, and even the parts of yourself you still try to hide. And knowing all of this, he still comes. The angel comes not because you are enough, but because you are invited into the journey of healing and becoming whole, not by your strength, but by my love. The angel's guidance will never contradict my nature, which is love, justice, mercy, and truth. If what you feel within is a whisper that draws you closer to life, to honesty, to compassion, be at peace. That is from me. If a thought stirs in you to love more, forgive easier. Give more that others may live than, even if it comes in silence or in an ordinary moment. Know this, the angel is gently showing you the next right step. On the other hand, if something makes you tremble with fear, if it causes you to doubt your own worth, if it makes you feel so small that you want to retreat from life, then that is not from me. If a so-called guidance leaves you cold, divided, envious, or withdrawn in isolation, be bold and reject it. For I am not the one who sows confusion. I am the giver of light, and everything that comes from me brings life to you and to those around you. You are safer than you think. In moments when you doubt your own discernment, you don't realize that an angel is guarding that very process for you. The angel covers you with wisdom from above, adjusts your vision so you can see truth from illusion, and steadies your heart so it won't be deceived by emotions or old wounds. The angel does not leave you alone with your choices. They do not force you, but neither do they stand idle when you ask for clarity. And the beautiful truth is this: I am not angry when you question. I do not reject you when you ask, Lord, did I hear wrong? On the contrary, that caution, that reverent fear, reveals a tender heart, a deep longing to live rightly. That is the kind of heart I love. That is good soil for my word. And in such a heart, the angel is given permission to act, not to make you perfect in an instant, but to walk beside you step by step, so that everything you do aligns a little more closely with my will each day. Remember, listening is not a perfect skill, it is a living relationship. the relationship between me and you, through my word, through the presence of the Holy Spirit, through the discernment upheld by the angel, is what enables you to trust in the midst of a noisy world. So do not let the fear of being wrong stop you from moving forward. You don't have to be perfect to hear, you just need to be honest. And I, along with my angel, will take care of the rest. I will guide. I will adjust. I will block the path if necessary. I will open the way when you are lost. But the only thing I ask from you is a heart willing to take the first step in love and trust. You are being protected. You are being led by the hand. And you are being taught how to listen, not as a student mastering a subject, but as a child relearning the voice of their father. And that, truly, is the most beautiful thing. Let me be gentle with you, my beloved, not with cheap comfort, but with a love deeper than every weariness you carry. I know you have learned to keep going, even with a broken heart. I know you've grown used to forcing a smile in rooms where no one sees you breaking inside. I know there are mornings you don't want to open your eyes, nights where you wish time would simply disappear. I know it all, and because I know, I do not blame. But today, let me say this to calm your heart, even when you feel nothing. The angel is still at work. There are days your soul feels like a barren desert, no prayers, no emotions, no strong belief. You sit there, as if the heavens have shut their doors, but the angel is still there. They have not left you, nor are they offended by your silence. The angel is not present because you feel them. They are present because I sent them to stay. No thunder needed. No emocional surge required. As long as you are still breathing, the angel remains by your side. And when everything seems to collapse, when your heart shatters with pain, when the tears will not stop, when your mind spins in chaos and despair, in that very moment, the angel is closer than ever. No one comes nearer to you than they do. No friend. No relative. No counselor can reach the deepest places of your soul like the angel does. The angel kneels where you've fallen, places their hand upon your blood-soaked soul, and holds it together so it doesn't completely break. Their presence does not depend on your feelings, nor is it limited by your awareness. They do not show up only when you are spiritual enough or doing well. They do not vanish just because you feel unworthy. You can turn away, forget, give up, but the angel will not. They are more persistent than your sorrow, more steadfast than the old wounds buried in your heart. They are part of the plan I have for you, a plan to protect, to guide, and to heal. You have no idea how many storms you've survived without even knowing they came. You did not hear the wind howl, did not see the flood rise, but the angel did. They stood in front of it all, not with weapons, but with intercession, with light, with their very presence. There were moments when just one wrong decision could have altered the course of your entire life. But somehow, a timely opportunity, a friend's intervention, a door suddenly closing, you were saved from what you didn't even know you needed to avoid. You thought it was luck? No, it was grace. It was the angel. It was me. I redirected countless disasters you'll never see. And you know what? I don't require you to understand everything just to be grateful. But through humility and thankfulness, your eyes will begin to open. Gratitude is the key that unlocks the door between the visible and the invisible. When you begin to thank me not only for what is happening, but also for what you've never seen, your soul is lifted beyond what human eyes can grasp. Try this once. My child, Sit quietly in that familiar room and whisper, "Thank you for the disasters that didn't happen. Thank you for the encounters I never had, the relationships that didn't last. Thank you for not giving me everything I wanted, because now I know. What you withheld was what protected me." And when you do, the invisible will start becoming visible, not through blinding light, but through quiet shifts in your heart. Bitterness softens. Anxiety gives way to peace. Doubt melts into faith. You'll stop looking at life with fear and start seeing through the eyes of one who knows they are being kept, not by luck, but by heaven's quiet faithfulness. You may not see every step the angel takes, but you'll begin to notice their footprints in the way forgiveness becomes easier, in the return of inspiration for things you once loved, in the moment you stop blaming and begin to give thanks. These, though small, are evidence of divine intervention. The angel does not need your praise. They only long for you to recognize that you are loved. Not because you're right, not because you're holy enough, simply because you are mine. And finally, believe this. Even if you're in your darkest place, you are safer than you think. Not because everything is easy, but because you are being held by a hand that reached into the depths to lift you up. The angel is guarding your discernment, helping you distinguish between emotion and truth, helping you recognize the voice of love and reject the whispers of darkness. Every guidance from the angel will reflect my nature: love, justice, mercy, and truth. Test everything against my word. If it draws you closer to life, for yourself and for others, then it is from me. But if it spreads fear, control, harm, or division, reject it. No matter how spiritual it appears, you don't need to be perfect to hear the angel. You just need to be sincere. And in the frailty of your honesty, heaven still works miracles, because you are mine. And you, even if you've forgotten, are still part of something good that is being written day by day, hour by hour, in both light and darkness. My beloved, hear this as a gentle whisper from eternity. This is not about dramatic signs, not about blinding lights, thunderous voices from the sky, or magnificent dreams that shake your soul. No, this is a quiet, steady companionship, the living but gentle presence of the angel beside you, every day, every hour, in the smallest details that, if you're not paying attention, might pass by like a breeze. The angel is not standing outside your life, waiting for solemn spiritual moments. They are waiting for one very simple invitation: no rituals, no polished words, just a whisper from a true heart. Angel, help me see what I'm missing. Guide me where I am stuck. That is all it takes, an open heart, an honest invitation. And what happens next won't be thunder or earthquakes, but clarity for the next step. That step might be so simple you don't realize it's sacred. Deleting an app that distracts your mind, calling someone you've been silent toward for too long, taking a real day of rest without guilt for not being productive enough. These things, though they seem small, are turning points in the spiritual world. That is when you choose to journey with, not battle alone. That is when you stop trying to control everything and let the angel guide you through the narrow space between will and surrender. Miracles live in obedience, not in obedience rooted in fear or force, but in the willing surrender that rises out of love. You are weary from the battle, I know. The battle in your mind, your emotions, In every silent thought you dare not share. But you were never meant to carry it all. You don't need to stay up all night trying to figure a way out. Angels have been sent to guard you. They do not grow tired. They do not leave. They do not run out of patience. They stand watch like faithful sentinels, ready to fight in your place when you need to rest. Sleep now. Beloved, let yourself be small in my hands. Lay down the burdens you've held onto for far too long. Believe that this battle is not yours alone. While you sleep, while your heart ceases its wrestling, heaven is quietly rearranging every piece, every person, every door, every opportunity to prepare for the day you will step forward into a new light. Your breakthrough will not come only through striving. You cannot push just a little harder to change everything. Not because you are not enough, but because breakthrough belongs to sacred timing. A moment appointed by the one who sees all paths, knows every turn, and measures every beat of your heart. And the angel walking with you knows that time. They are neither early nor late. They guide at the right moment, open the doors at the right time, and keep you from getting lost in the wait. So do not be afraid if things haven't changed today. Do not be discouraged if the dream hasn't taken form. Do not panic if you don't know the next step. Just trust the process, a sacred process woven long before pain ever entered your story. A plan crafted in love, and not the fleeting love of the world, but the enduring, steady, and powerful love of the Creator. And even now, as you slow your breath, as you open your heart and invite the angel in, life is beginning to shift. The sacred is growing silently beneath the surface. The sun still rises, even if you don't see it. The roots still grow, even if you can't feel them. Everything is still in motion. And you, in the midst of it all, are still being loved, still being held, still being led down a path no one but you was born to walk. Beloved, you asked for balance, for a place to steady yourself in a world that tilts, where faith and doubt collide in the mind. And today, this is the answer, not in the words you wanted, but in the truth you needed. The balance you seek is found in facing both sides of reality. Yes, danger is real. I do not deny that. There are forces quietly pulling your mind toward confusion, self-blame, surrender. There are whispers from the dark telling you you've gone too far, that you cannot return. And yes, there are wounds from the very people you trusted, and loved wounds that cut deep. I see it all, and I affirm this: danger exists. Bhutan, this is the truth that will keep you standing. My protection is greater. There is no darkness my light cannot reach, no depth too far for my angels. You are not spared from trials, but you are covered by grace. And this covering does not come from human defenses, but from my living presence and from my angel who watches over you daily. Yes, you've made mistakes, who hasn't? I do not forget your moments of collapse, the wrong turns, the words you wish you never said, or the things you wish you never did. But carve this truth deep into your heart: my mercy is greater than them all. It does not keep score, does not scold, does not set conditions. It is a river rushing into your wilderness. And when you choose to return, even with nothing more than a feeble nod from within, all of heaven rejoices. You are never defined by your past. You are always called by love. The road ahead is not easy. I never said it would be smooth. But I gave one promise, and that promise remains untouched through all generations. Each day, I will give you daily bread. Not enough for the month or the year, not to hoard out of fear, but just enough for today. Like the Israelites in the wilderness receiving manna from heaven, they could not store it for tomorrow, or it would spoil. Obedience is trusting that tomorrow's grace will arrive when tomorrow comes. And that is the angel's task beside you, to bring what you need today. Not absolute security, not a complete map of your future, but just enough guidance, timely strength, a light to take the next step. The angel bears what you cannot carry. They do not promise to remove every shadow, but they promise to stay until the dawn breaks. Beloved, do not live trying to stockpile knowledge, control, or certainty. Manna will spoil if hoarded. Grace has no expiration, but it never arrives early. Live in the present, the only place where my presence waits for you in full. And I say this not because I must repeat it, but because I long for you to remember it as an eternal rhythm. You are the beloved. Not the transactional love sold by this world, but the love that existed before time, that endured every time you ran, every time you doubted, every time you rejected yourself. That love does not retract. It does not fade. It holds no regret. The angel's wings are your shelter. When you are weak, when you cannot pray, when your heart is only a whisper, angel still covers you. They spread their wings, creating a space where you can breathe, feel safe, rest, and simply be. And the light from them, the light that comes from me, will dissolve every shadow around you. So breathe. Dear one, no need to rush. The door is open. My beloved child, be courageous and step forward. The door is open, not a gilded door in some high palace, but the door in this very moment, here and now. I do not call you from some distant, cold throne of power. No, I call you from the deepest place within you, where blood pulses, where breath moves in and out of your chest. I call you through every silent ache, every quiet wondering as you stand at the crossroads asking, is this the time? Am I enough? Do not doubt that call. Do not wait for a blinding miracle to believe I am here. The holy beings around you are not abstract concepts or far-off mysteries, but living, breathing extensions of my love for you. They do not appear only in temples, during prayers, or when you feel good enough. They walk with you while you're picking vegetables at the market, sit beside you in long traffic jams, and kneel by your hospital bed where you feel most alone. You are never alone. That presence is not a special privilege for saints or those who hear voices from heaven. No, that presence is your divine inheritance because you are mine, and I have signed your name into the everlasting covenant. You don't need to reach a certain level of spiritual worthiness to be protected. You don't need to scrub every stain to be seen. Angels don't see you through the lens of the world with its labels, standards, or scores. They see you with my Gazea gaze that sees the eternal, radiant, unshakable worth within your soul. You may see failure, weakness, impatience in yourself, but the angels are unmoved. They do not leave when you cry. Do not withdraw when you rage. Do not flinch when you fall. They stand like immovable fortresses, for their mission is not to judge, but to protect, not to test, but to accompany, not to control, but to remind you, you are loved, you are being kept, and you can still go on. I blink, child of the light. The door is open, not because you are strong enough, but because I love enough. Not because you are perfectly ready, but because my timing has come. So hesitate no more. Do not wait for perfection. Do not wait for a sinless moment. Step through with trembling legs, with a doubting heart, but with the faith that you are not alone. The door of healing is open. The door of restoration, of freedom, of new purpose, it is open. And my call does not echo from a distance, but whispers from the depths of your soul, where angels hold steady the line between despair and hope. Let me carry you through, not by a mighty wind, but by a gentle hand that never lets go. My beloved, there is one thing I long for you to know, not just with your mind, but with your whole heart and soul. You were never truly abandoned. Even in the days you felt lost in a fog, even in the nights you whispered, "God, where are you?" the truth remained unchanged. Heaven's symphony never stopped playing. You've passed through seasons unaware that the melody of guidance still played beneath the noise of life. It did not arrive as cathedral bells or trumpet blasts atop mountains. It didn't push or demand. It whispered patiently and lovingly through the smallest details, a nudge to turn left, a restless unease before stepping into a harmful relationship, a wave of peace while watching light fall on a stranger's face. None of it was coincidence. You may have called it intuition, but it was the voice of the divine, a language encoded in the ordinary, a glance, a song, an emotion, a dream, or a lyric that lingers in your heart long enough to undo a lie you believed for too long. Did you know? A song can be an angel's unseen hand pulling you from the edge. A line in an old book can be the confirmation your soul has been searching for. A sudden instinct to say no to a charming invitation that feels unsettling could be the moment your peace is protected. That is how angels speak. Not with noise, not with force, not with grand, overwhelming words. The divine, in their utter subtlety, never shout to drown out your distractions. They honor your freedom, the sacred gift I bestowed upon humankind at the dawn of creation. And so, they do not intrude when you're too hurried, nor do they force you to turn around when you've chosen your own path. But they are always speaking every hour, every minute, every second. The issue is not their silence. The issue lies elsewhere, in the numbness within you and me. Those created in the image of the eternal have gradually lost touch with the sacred awareness that was once our original nature. We call miracles coincidences. We dismiss angelic nudges as random thoughts. We label moments of deep beauty as weakness. In our struggle to survive a frenzied world, we have traded away sacred awareness for unconscious living. I don't say this to blame you. I say it to awaken you, to let you know that even now, you can return. The door is still open. The music is still playing. The divine still waits for you to adjust your frequency. You don't have to do anything grand. You just need to pause long enough to realize that even the sound of wind brushing through the trees might be a tender whisper. Long enough to stop scrolling and notice how a sentence pierces your heart because it touches something forgotten within you. The sacred has not been lost, it's only been buried. And when you begin to slow down, to listen more, to give thanks more deeply, your soul will begin to open again. What once seemed ordinary will reveal itself as the answer you've been waiting for. The angels have not stopped. I have not abandoned you. Truth continues to be poured into the world like morning dew, quiet, persistent, unwavering. Remember this, my beloved, your soul does not need noise to awaken. It only needs to be acknowledged. It only needs a single call from you. Lord, teach me to listen. And in that moment, the symphony will no longer be drowned out by the noise. It will rise, resound, and you will realize you were never lost, only momentarily deaf to the song of heaven within your heart. You often ask silently, or even cry out in despair, why don't they appear? Why don't they show me clearly? Why don't they prove they're real? These questions are neither wrong nor shameful. They are the honest voice of a soul that longs to see, to grasp, to touch the sacred. But my child, faith cannot be forced, and true love does not impose proof to validate its existence. If it did, it would cease to be love and become a transaction. I understand you live in a world of eyes and hands and logic, where what cannot be measured is easily doubted. But I want you to know this too. The hiddenness of the divine is a gift they silently offer you. It is not a sign of distance or indifference. It is an act of deep mercy, a way to keep your spiritual path pure, authentic, and untouched by fear or coercion. Imagine if angels appeared before your radiant, magnificent, awe-inspiring, your whole body and soul would tremble, and you would obey, wouldn't you? But then your obedience would not come from faith, but from fear. You would do what is right, but you wouldn't know if you were free to choose it. Worse, you might perform piety merely to please what you see, instead of being truly transformed from within. I am not looking for children who pretend. I do not need a performance of virtue, born from fear. Beyond the angels of my realm desire for you to truly grow, to truly love, to truly trust, not because you've been convinced, but because you choose to believe. And that is why I hide myself. Not because you are unworthy, but because I respect you enough not to force you to believe through power. It is in the space between not seeing and still believing that true faith is born. This hiddenness is a form of mercy. It is a gentle invitation. Will you seek me even when you cannot see me? Do you have the courage to walk by faith? And within that invitation, you will begin to learn something priceless: discernment. When nothing is clear, when every direction seems right, you will have to learn to listen not to the world, not to others, but to your own heart, where the Spirit quietly dwells. You will learn to seek me, not through the spectacular, but through surrender, surrendering the need to control, surrendering the compulsion to reason everything out, surrendering even the fear that only what can be seen is real. You may think this hiddenness is distance, but no, my dear, it is a presence concealed by love. The divine are willing to stand behind that veil, willing to remain unnamed, so long as it helps you learn to walk by faith, not by sight. They are glad to accompany you silently, to nudge you gently, to protect you discreetly, so that your soul has the space to become itself freely, truthfully. And strangely enough, it is in the darkness that your inner light begins to grow. It is in the silence of heaven that the whisper within you becomes clear. It is in not seeing that you learn to recognize. It is in the absence of physical proof that you begin to taste the sweetness of a pure faith, one that is not transactional, pressured, or performative. My beloved, if today you still see nothing, feel nothing, understand nothing of why heaven is quieto, not rush to conclude, I am absent. Know that I am present even in the silence. And even now, I am still calling you, walk on, not because you see me, but because you trust that I am walking with you. And you will see not with your eyes, and you will hear not with your ears, and you will know not through evidence, but through the life awakening within you. Think again. My child, not with the analyzing mind, but with a tender memory, with the recollection of moments that seemed random, but bore a loving arrangement. Remember, each time you narrowly escaped danger, each second of delay that saved you, each strange thought that held you back, each stranger who pulled you aside, and nothing bad happened. Then, you called it luck, but in truth, it was collaboration. Each job that came at the perfect time, each door that opened when all hope seemed lost, each friend who showed up just when you couldn't bear your heart anymore, none of it was coincidence. These were threads woven between your free will and my sovereign grace, between your choices and heaven's merciful interventions. There is always a sacred intersection, and at that point, the angels act. They do not come with thunder or earthquakes. They gently soften the edges of circumstances. Delay disasters you never knew were near. Plant good thoughts into the minds of those who could help you, even if it's through a message, a random sentence, or a small gesture. They stir compassion in strangers, open doors you thought were shut. Each of these moments is a quiet miracle broadcasted, not written in books, but powerful enough to alter destinies. And yet, angels, despite their strength and wisdom, cannot choose for you. They cannot override the stubbornness you cling to, like an old suit of armor. When you insist on walking paths your soul knows are harming you, when you refuse to release a relationship that's draining your light, when you ignore the whisper that says, "This isn't who I am," in those moments, the angels must step back, not because they abandon you, but because they honor your freedom, the sacred gift I gave, and no one has the right to take away. Even then, they do not disappear. They work silently in the shadows. They do not rest. They seek to rescue beauty from the ruins your resistance has caused. They do not blame you, nor judge you, but your pain becomes their pain. They know you are hurting yourself. They know you deserve more. And still, they prepare the way waiting for your return. My dear child, these divine beings are not myths. They are the living embodiment of my kindness. They act not to frighten you, but to let you know you are loved so deeply that all the resources of heaven stand ready to intervene if only you crack open the door, not wide just enough for the light to enter. So, think again. Remember the moments you were preserved, risked with, guided without knowing why, and let that gratitude reawaken your inner wisdom. Let that love shake your heart free from the long sleep of resignation. You are not forced to return. But if today you begin to choose again, even just a little, the angels will have more room to act, to protect, to heal, and to guide you back to your true self, radiant, free, and alive. Let me pull back the veil a little, to show you what the human eye often misses, what has always been happening behind the curtain of what you call normal. Picture this. You are scrolling through your phone, not truly for enjoyment, but as a subconscious way to numb the pain quietly draining the life from within you. You swipe, image after image, video after video, headline after headline, all carefully designed to keep you in a sweet paralysis, not hurting, but not truly living. And right then, beside you, not far off, not in the heavens, but shoulder to shoulder, right in that very room stands a divine being. That angel, with gentle eyes and tireless hands, reaches out, not to snatch the phone away, not to shout, not to manipulate like the world does, but simply to touch to gently redirect, as if trying to guide your finger toward a podcast that might awaken something in you, a song that could lift the heavy curtain in your heart, or even a message from a friend you haven't replied, tono out of malice. But because you've been too proud, too hurt, or too weary to face them, but you scroll past, just for a second. You miss it. You don't catch the signal. It's okay. The angel does not get angry. They are not made of judgment. But, my child, yes, they do feel pain. Not from ego, but because they know your loneliness will stretch through yet another night. They know you'll drift into sleep confused and wake again with a heavy mind, not knowing why. Still, the angel does not give up. They never stop working. While you think you're just living randomly, the angel is recalibrating the flow around you. A billboard you'll see tomorrow at a red light, a passing conversation in a cafe, where someone at another table mentions exactly what you need to hear, a line from the film you're about to watch, quiet but sharp like a blade, slicing through a lie you've long believed about yourself. You may not realize it, but everything has been arranged by the most enduring love not to manipulate you, but to awaken you again and again. There is no limit. There is no point where the chances run out. As long as you still breathe, they still whisper. As long as you remain silent, they continue to wait. And then, there is a moment perhaps so small, so ordinary when you pause, when you finally listen, when you send that message, when you click on that recording, when you step outside, walking in the glow of the evening light, letting your heart open if only a sliver. In that very moment, the angels rejoice. But it's not just them. Heaven itself trembles with joy. Not because you did the right thing, but because you chose life, because you came back, because you, even in weakness and weariness, did not let go. What you feel in that moment is not judgment. It is not a whisper saying, "You should have listened sooner." It is a gentle, warm, and deep light, as though all of heaven is smiling, as if your heart has been returned to its rightful place. It is a sacred presence that speaks not in words, but in essence, welcome home. That is mercy. That is the unwavering faith they have in you, a faith that has never faltered, no matter how many times you've turned the wrong way. And that is why they've always stayed close. Not because they are weak, but because they are strong enough to wait, loving enough not to force, and patient enough to rearrange the entire universe just to hold a place for you. When you are ready to return, beloved, know this with all your soul: the divine beings surrounding you are not cold bureaucrats in some anonymous celestial office. They do not sit at sacred desks, recording your sins and merits with indifferent eyes. They are not distant entities, just fulfilling an assignment. No, they are fierce allies, warriors of light, who have entered deeply into the story of your life, not with caution, but with steadfast, unconditional love. They do not merely observe. They feel. They live with you through each movement, not with detachment, but with whole, passionate love. When you choose what is right in loneliness, they erupt in celestial cheers. When you forgive, when you reject the false to protect the true, when you love in difficult ways, they clap as though all of heaven is singing. And when you self-destruct, when you turn away from the light, when you fall for the 7th time and no longer want to rise, they sigh, not in disappointment, but in shared pain. They do not look away. They are there, and when the darkness seems ready to swallow you whole, they call in reinforcements. They push back the night with unceasing intercession. They build invisible barriers around you, places despair cannot fully penetrate, where even the smallest flicker of light is still kept alive. They know every small thing about you, not to scrutinize, but to love more deeply. They know how you gently bite your lip to hide pain, how your eyes shimmer when someone speaks with kindness. They hear you hum an old hymn in a tense, momentous song you thought you'd forgotten, but that still smolders in your heart like a silent prayer. They notice even your left heel, the way it taps a rhythm unconsciously whenever inspiration draws near. When something sacred begins to stir in you, they require no proof from you, only your presence, your honesty, your willingness to be vulnerable. To them, you are not a special case, not an unfinished project, not a broken soul in need of fixing. No, you are a living poem, a sacred work that either one who etched every beat of your heart with eternal love have placed in their care. They preserve each line, each stanza, each sacred silence, because they know every crack in you carries a melody. Every time you rise from disappointment, another verse is written. Every time you choose light in a world of chaos, a new stanza resounds not only in you, but in the symphony of all existence, and you are never dismissed. You are never just one of many. You are unique. No one else carries your melody. No one else is written in your language. And for this reason, the angels never leave. They remain when you are disappointed in yourself, when you no longer believe you're worthy, when you think I've gone silent. But it is exactly in those seemingly meaningless moments that they still whisper, "You are still God's poem." Don't stop the verse. Don't close the page. And today, I say it too, that poem is not finished. I am still writing. The angels are still keeping watch. And you, even tired, even lost, even broken, are still an irreplaceable part of heaven's sacred song. But there is something you must know, a holy boundary that not even the most divine can cross. They cannot live your life for you, no matter how great their power, no matter how vast their love for you. They cannot control you, because the freedom you carry, the most glorious and dangerous of all gifts, is something even angels bow in reverence before. Their hands, strong and ever ready to rescue, are sometimes bound not by weakness, but by your choice. When you ignore their nudges, the gentle intuitions, the quiet signs, the silent opportunities arranged around you, they do not abandon you. There is no turning away from them, but they begin to dig trenches of grace around the cliffs you insist on approaching. If you want to walk into the dark, they won't stop you, but they will plant light along the way. If you choose hurt, they will not resist your decision, but they will scatter mercy everywhere so that when you fall, it will not be the end. When you stumble through mistake, blindness, or recklessness, the angels bend low, not to remove the pain, but to keep the fall from being fatal. You may still ache, grieve, and regret, but somehow you are still breathing. You still have the strength to rise. You still have one tear to cry, one breath to pray, one flicker of light to reach for. Do you think that's by chance? No, that is protection. Quiet, unseen, yet so deep it keeps your soul intact through the tremors. And when you rebel, when anger or despair drives you to hurt others, to make choices that defy life, the angels do not retreat. They do not agree, but they do not condemn. They become a living wall between you and the consequences, not to shield you from responsibility, but to protect others from being crushed by the shards of your broken choices. They guard the last remnant of humanity within you, the part still under siege by shame and guilt. So do not mistake their protection as a promise that you won't suffer. No, they never made that promise. They cannot and will not, because those wounds, if you allow them, will become the places where light enters you deepest. They do not guarantee ease, but they vow this: no wound you suffer will be in vain. No pain will be wasted. No tear will fall without being kept in heaven's memory. Every scar, whether on your skin, in your memory, or within your sulif you let light pass through, will become a beacon for others. The painful roads you've walked, the mistakes you thought were irredeemable, the cuts that made you question your worth, all of it, if offered honestly, will become testimony. And you, the one who was once lost, broken, doubtful, will become the light guiding someone else's healing. The angels know this. They see the restoration that you cannot yet see. They do not look at you as a failure of today, but as the light of someone's tomorrow. And because they know, they stay. They protect. They clear the way, even when you don't realize it. Not because you can't do wrong, but because nothing you do wrong could ever make them stop believing in who you can still become. You've misunderstood their role, not out of apathy, but because this world has taught you that the sacred is here to soothe you, to ease all burdens, to open every door and scatter roses on the path. But the divine ones were never sent to make your life easy. They came to make your life real, whole, sacred. They are not spiritual assistants who show up only when you pray for a job, for healing, for love to return. They are heavenly architects, entrusted with intervening when small, safe plans begin to shrink the great destiny I have written for you. They specialize in breaking the habits that lull you into safety. They take away the comfortable compromises that are quietly killing your soul jobs, that trade your creativity for stable paychecks. Relationships that mute your true voice. Choices that make you smaller instead of larger. They stir the holy discomfort in you, that sacred restlessness that whispers, "You've stayed too long here. You are living smaller than what I created." And though you may not yet name it, that unrest is a divine wake-up call. You are being invited into the land of growth. Not because I don't love you, but because I love you too much to let you stay in the temporary. The job you didn't get, maybe you cried, felt disappointed, questioned yourself. But what you didn't see was this: the angels closed that door not to punish, but to free you for a greater purpose you've yet to imagine. The relationship you clung to has begun to fade. That wasn't failure, it was a gentle release. They let go so you could fly. You thought you lost someone, but in truth, you were reclaiming yourself. What you call lost, those moments of collapse, hollowness, and emptiness are often their divine precision, because they do not see you through the lens of your current limitations. They see you through eternity. They care more about your eternal soul than your temporary comfort. They know that some lessons are only learned through loss. Some doors only open after surrender. Some seasons of growth only begin when another ends. And my child, that is why you can trust them. Not because they always do what you want, but because they always do what I will, the one who has written your name in the palm of my hand. Their loyalty is not to your ambitions, but to the sacred, divine purpose meant for you. Whether you understand it or not, whether you cooperate or resist. They continue to act not out of duty, but out of love. So if today you find yourself in a fog, in the midst of something that has been lost, in the middle of dreams not yet fulfilled, in the ache of being left behind or not chosen, pause and breathe. It may be that right now, divine precision is unfolding. It may be that the sacred ones are rebuilding from your fragments something more beautiful, more solid, more real than anything you've ever held. They won't always make you happy, but they will never let your soul lose its way. And through it all, they look upon you with the eyes of heaven, not seeing only who you are today, but who you are becoming. And they will not rest until you live fully into that truth. The guidance of the divine doesn't look like the maps humans draw, not a straight path from point A to point B, not a route where every stop is marked and every outcome predicted. No, beloved, their guidance is like a spiral where you may feel like you're returning to the same point. But in truth, you are coming back to core truths with a completely new depth. It's not a cycle of failure, but the rhythm of growth. Lessons that once broke, you return not to punish, but to offer you the chance to go farther, see deeper, and love yourself more fully along the way. You'll find yourself wrestling again with things you thought you'd already learned: forgiveness, self-worth, patience, faith, boundaries. You may ask, why is this happening again? Haven't I done enough? But no, dear one, it's not because you've failed, it's because you're ready to go deeper. Like an artist returning to a familiar note, but this time with new sensitivity in the fingers and a deeper resonance in the heart. You too are being invited to revisit truth with more maturity than before. The sacred ones understand this, and they are endlessly patient. They are not weary when you ask the same old questions, not disappointed when you return to a wound you thought had healed. They will walk with you in that spiral year after year, even decade after decade if needed, and they rejoice at every small flicker of awakening, a new insight, a deeper release, a braver act of love. They do not measure your progress by checklists of achievements or goals reached. They measure it by the shift within your heart, by the gentleness in your thoughts, the compassion you extend to others and to yourself, the presence you are slowly learning to live from. You often long for a formula. I know that. You want 3 steps to hear the angels, 5 keys to discern the true voice, a clear, simple guidebook. But, my child, relationships don't follow formulas. They are alive, messy. They cannot be measured by time, nor duplicated from one soul to another. They are woven from whispered prayers said when no one is watching, from scribbled journal pages where you write what you cannot yet speak, from the courage to act on intuition when no one understands, and from the moments when you dare to trust what you feel in your heart more than what logic dictates. There may be no booming voice, no brilliant light or obvious sign, but once that relationship is built bit by bit, day by day, quiet knowing will grow in you. You'll know when you're on the right path, not because there's no more doubt, but because there is a peace within that cannot be explained, a sense that you are not walking alone, that even when the road winds, there is a patient hand walking with you. The angels don't ask for perfection. They only long for your faithfulness and your truthfulness within that relationship. And in that sacred connection, you don't need to achieve anything. You only need to live honestly. Ask when you need. Be silent when you have no words. Sit still when there's no strength left to run. And walk when your heart whispers, trust. That, my beloved, is how divine guidance happens, not through pressure, but through the gentle rhythm of an unfailing love. Start here, my dearest. You don't need to understand everything. You don't need to be certain of anything. You only need one small step. Believe that you are being guided, even when you feel lost, unclear, or skeptical. That does not change the truth that you have never walked alone. The sacred ones have always been beside you, never waiting for you to be better, never requiring you to see them, only asking you to open your heart. And if that trust still feels foreign, if your heart is not yet strong enough to fully lean into the invisible, begin with a simple conversation. Say it like you're talking to an old friend you've just reunited with. Sacred ones who keep my soul, show me what I'm missing. Help me recognize your voice. That's enough. No need for solemn words or elaborate rituals. It's your honesty that opens the gate, because they don't need eloquence, they need your trust. Then, pay attention. Begin to live a little slower. Notice a little more. The sacred ones don't always speak in loud voices. They speak through repetition. They place in your life patterns, echoes, subtle signs that, if you're not watching, you'll mistake for coincidence. But when you are awake, you will see these things are never random. A stranger, twice in 1 week, mentions the same book. Don't dismiss it. That's an invitation. A persistent dream, unclear but emotionally stirring, that's a doorway not yet opened. A small idea, like a door ajar in your mind, keeps returning every time you sit still. They are knocking, gently, but insistently. The sacred ones love repetition, not because they lack creativity, but because they know that in this noisy world, you need to hear something more than once before you dare to believe it's real. They do not give up. They're not frustrated when you miss it. They just come back differently. It might be a line from an old friend, a song that plays at the perfect moment, a painting that stirs your soul. Even if you don't know why, all of it letters from heaven. And when you begin to notice, you'll see everything connects. You'll realize this life has never been a string of coincidences. It is a tapestry, woven with invisible thread sand. The sacred ones are the faithful weavers. They don't draw in straight lines. They draw in spirals because they know awakening doesn't happen all at once, but through each turn of the circle. So, begin here. Believe that you are always being guided. Dare to speak to those who've been with you, even before you believed in their existence. Listen for the repetitions, and respond with an open heart. That's all it takes, a small beginning that can unlock a destiny greater than you ever imagined. The sacred ones do not serve a timid God. They do not bow to fear or hesitate in darkness. They are not shackled by doubt nor paralyzed by uncertainty. They are sent by a God of power, and that power is not in a roar, but in unshakable love. And that is why you were not born to live with your head bowed in shame or your steps timid with hesitation. I am in you. I am with you. I am for you. That is not a slogan, it is an eternal covenant. Unmoved by your emotions, unchanged by your failures or triumphs. The wings of angels are not just beautiful images, they are real refuge. When you need safety, they spread wide to shield you from the storm. When you are lost, they surround you with light. When you are weary, they carry your every step, every breath, every silent prayer no one else hears. Their wisdom is your inheritance, because you earned it, but because you were chosen before you knew how to say God. before you ever prayed. Before you were more than a whisper in your mother's womb, that wisdom waited to be poured into your soul. So now, walk bravely. You don't have to wait until everything is clear. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. Just go even if your heart still trembles. Make mistakes not out of recklessness, but because you have the courage to live authentically. Then adjust. Learn. Grow. Evolve. But through it all, never doubt this unchanging truth. You are the reason heaven's army holds its breath with every step you take. Not because you are special in the way the world defines it, not because you are without wounds, but because in the grand, sacred tapestry of creation, every choice you make in freedom to love, to forgive, to rise, to believe is a resounding triumph in the realm of spirit. They see your potential even when you do not. They await the moment you realize you have been loved all along. And when you begin to walk with courage even slowly, even silently, heaven rejoices. Now go. Beloved, begin to notice. Listen more deeply. Love more truly. Believe more fiercely. Forgive more easily. Look up more often. And as you walk, know this, you do not walk alone. So now, let me teach you how to pray for your life. Lord, you who always see what I cannot name, today I come, not with certainty, but with longing. I admit that I have been busy. I have doubted. I have taken for granted the sacred companionship quietly walking beside me each day. Please open my eyes to see the signs I've missed. Please calm my heart, so I will not be afraid when I sense the presence of divine beings sent to watch over me. I do not ask for grand miracles. I only ask to live awake, attuned, and always aware that I am never alone on this journey. Almighty God, sometimes I grow so weary that even the most sacred things become blurred in my sight. Teach me how to recognize your signs. When a stranger repeats the same words, when an old song makes my heart tremble, when a thought returns again and again like a door softly opening, grant me the courage not to ignore it. Please keep me from becoming hardened by routine, and help me to listen from the deepest places within, because I believe that in repetition and stillness, there is a voice from heaven calling me, Lord of the open door. I hear a calling within me, quiet, but persistent. I sense something is shifting, inviting me to step out of the familiar, but I am still afraid. Please send your angels to hold my hand, to show me what I must release, and to grant me peace that surpasses understanding. If a door is opening, please do not let me get lost in hesitation. If something must end, give me the strength to let go. And if I must wait longer, please keep my heart soft in the waiting. Lord, today I ask for nothing. I only want to give thanks, because I know that even when I do not believe, when I turn away, when I am drowning in despair, the divine beings you have sent never abandon me. They stay in position. They clear the path. They whisper. They wait for me to open my heart. I know that every delayed accident, every door closed in perfect timing, every unexpectedly kind person, these are gentle acts of your intervention through their hands. I am grateful that you never withdrew that presence. Even when I strayed far, I thank you for the repetition, for the stories that return, the books mentioned again and again, the dreams that still linger. I know these are not coincidences. Your divine messengers are circling around me with a patience I cannot comprehend. I am grateful that they do not give up. that they are more steadfast than I could ever expect. And today, I choose not to overlook them anymore. I choose to see, to remember, and to respond. Creator of all, thank you for writing me like a poem. Thank you that I am not a problem to be fixed, but a living work of art growing, unfolding, singing verses made of both sorrow and peace. Thank you that the angels do not see me through the lens of right or wrong, but through the loving eyes of you. Thank you that I do not have to be perfect to be protected. I only have to be myself, honest, fragile, and still writing the song of my life. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong community of faith.